foreigner, got a brand new girlfriend, a beauty from Cebu. Met her on the internet, said I love you times two. She's a quarter of his old age, with a smile so sweet and grand. Now she's got his pension plan clutched tight within her hand. Old foreigner got cleaned out by a scammer, walking home from his condo Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as true love, but as for old mister, he still wants to believe. She'd been drinking fancy cocktails that he was paying, and she begged him for a new phone and a little bit more for her sick and ailing mother and her cousin's leaky roof. But he was blinded by her sweet talk and couldn't see the proof. Old foreigner got cleaned out by a scammer, walking home from his condo Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as true love, but as for old mister, he still wants to believe. Christmas morning at the ATM, a most terrific sight. His bank account was empty in the early morning light. She'd taken all his money and the condo keys to boot, left a note that said, thanks sweetie, what a bitter fruit. Now we're all so sad for grandpa, he's been taking this so hard, sitting there and watching traffic in his empty rented yard. It's not Christmas without money, all his credit cards are black, and we just can't help but wonder, will he ever get it back? Old foreigner got cleaned out by a scammer, walking home from his condo Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as true love, but as for old mister, he still wants to believe. Now the spaghetti and hot dogs on the table, and the pie made with coconut, and the blue and silver parole that were her favorite big. I've warned all my fellow expats, better watch out for yourselves. They'll take you for a sleigh ride with the...
Hey, good morning, Magadan Umaga. Good morning to everybody. I don't know. I was actually wondering about this live stream today. And then I got my coffee and I'm like, yeah, I'm in. What is going on, guys? I actually made a weird concoction this morning. I know you can't tell. Looks more like hot chocolate, but it's got ube, I call it ube, which is like the yam fruit. So basically it's, I don't know. To me, ube tastes like coconut and sweet potato at the same time, and it's in the coffee. It's definitely these mics. There's got to be something chemical on them when they came from China. Literally, they do come from China. And every time I get itchy from being near it. Let me know how the audio is, if it's echoing or not. Shout out from where you guys are. So today I'm going to talk about something. I was going to cover that Filipino that's American that got thrown out over drugs in the U.S. and he seemed to be I call him a banger because he's seems to know a lot about the gangs in Los Angeles, and I call him a wannabe. I'm just going to talk shit about the man. But he's homeless in Makati, and now he doesn't consider himself homeless because he's living underground, but that's too much. I don't have the strength for that today to go through his. Somebody else did another story on him a couple months ago, and he told his whole life story more than the other channels had covered him, but I'm going to cover him later. But today I want to talk about the American attitude, how many times I've heard other channels and heard others say, well, if you don't like it, Heidi, leave the Philippines. Why do you talk shit about Filipinos or George or whatever? I'd be talking shit no matter where I'm at, whether I was in Egypt or the UK or Canada or if I was in Mexico. It doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about what's going on, and I'm not going to hide these things. Now, is it an attitude? I don't know, maybe. I mean, they say that Americans have some, I've heard George say it a dozen times, you think you're better than everybody else, and you're all superior. And I said, well, that's not really what it is. Just because I want air conditioning does not mean I feel like I'm better than somebody, or because I don't want a place that looks like it's falling apart and looks like it's 1,000 years old doesn't mean I feel I'm better than somebody. I have lived inside of a mobile home that was falling apart in the winter out in the Ozarks okay, on 20 acres of land and had my leg almost fall off because I got bit by a brown recluse. And it was some of the happiest times when my kids were little. It doesn't mean that I feel I'm better. As a matter of fact, I've had government cheese. I've had the government peanut butter. My mom got giveaways from Salvation Army when we were kids. I ain't nobody special. Okay. So I haven't hid the fact that sometimes when I see the things going on here, I can't compare my childhood to only eating rice and a piece of dried fish. But there were times where I'd go to bed eating some Kix. You guys remember Kix cereal when it was just corn or something? It had no whatever, or oatmeal before I went to bed. So the whole thing is that there is, though, some attitude sometimes with expats in general, but I think it's bad behavior. I think there's a confusion with bad behavior. And I know people can have bad days. That is for sure. I'm going to start off, and the reason I'm doing it this way is it's more of a legality thing. I'm going to show you guys a clip this morning, okay, of an aggressive American tourist, and he's in a Vietnam hotel. So I want to give you an idea, and this does happen here all the time. I want to let you know that. But not just Americans, it does happen with other expats. But it always seems to be us Americans are on display. Oh, this American this American that. And it's like, shit, they bad. All baby's kids are all over the goddamn world. What you talking about? So I want to show you this clip, and it is embarrassing. Now I want to let you know, when I was talking about I was in New York during the pandemic, we was getting George's passport. I did have a problem with the hotel, but it wasn't like this, guys. I mean, it's one thing, but when you hear this guy, you guys are gonna be like, oh shit, yeah, this guy's off the chain. He sounds like a ragging menopausal woman. Probably the same guy, okay, the same guy that talks about Karens and all this shit is being a Karen times 10. So let me see if you guys make sure. I don't know how much this you'll be able to hear. Okay. Get to the goddamn bed. Look at this. I will show you this. You open up the door to go to the bathroom. It's jammed against the bed. I have to go in sideways to get into the damn bathroom. That was already sold on the You what? Already sold on the when. Excuse me. It doesn't show that. There you go. Really? Can you guys hear? My booking? Excuse me, I'm talking. Don't be rude. When I post my complaints or my feedback, I've been traveling for 4.5 years. I've been to Vietnam many times. I've never been in a hotel this bad. This is not acceptable. You're not listening. This is not acceptable. It's very frustrating sometimes. Sometimes I forget I'm not in my country. When we do things like that, just like he said in Australia, he's different.
Yeah, brother. In Australia, they just knock you out if you talk to someone like that.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't know if you guys heard it. He actually said if you talk like that, like if they were like in New York and act like that, there'd probably be a fist fight between the front desk and whatever foreigner was in there. I guess it depends on what place. But he just said in Australia they wouldn't have dealt with that. And the guy is talking about, oh, I've been to Vietnam a lot of times. And that's something I thought about. I'm about to piss off a lot of vloggers and travelers. Even 5 freaking years ago when I arrived here, there was only a section of expats that were here that were vlogging. And now every American Filipino couple is vlogging. Nothing wrong if that's your hustle and you guys are bored and you guys want to be vloggers. But now everybody's a vlogger. Everybody's got a camera in somebody's face. And now everybody's a professional travel. I've been to Vietnam so many times, and this is the way you're going to treat me. And it's like, you were probably that ghetto when you were back in the United States. So take your ass back. That's the ones that need to go back. If I'm bitching because this, and that is happening to me here, and I'm now a permanent resident, I told George, I'm sorry. There's a level that I'm going to bitch and say something. This is where I'm living. I will deal with it, okay? But I'm not going to lay down either. But I'm not going to be this dude, and I'm not going to be the one like on the trike. Like literally he was overcharged, and he's swinging his bag at people, and I'm like, okay, that's a little excessive. That's excessive. So you guys remember that e-trike guy. he got off there, felt he got overcharged, like he was going to go see his girlfriend, and the dude was swinging his backpack at people fighting, and it's like, well, you can't do that either. So I feel that the behavior comes from, or the attitude just comes from the bad behavior and can happen to anybody. Hey, what you doing there, Pigsy? Hi, Pigsy. You want to say good morning? There's Pigsy, guys. Remember Pigsy with no tail? Say good morning, fat girl. She is so weird. Like, she's got little to no legs, and in the center of her, she's overweight. Say good morning, Pigsy. I call her Peggy too, Pigsy or Pegsy, because her tail looks like a little pig. Hi, Pig. There's see it. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but let's see. Um, I mean, I have my good days and bad days. I mean, like really, but I don't know. Let chime in on this because I don't feel that wherever I'm at when something's going on should make a difference. But you do have to follow the rules. You ain't got to let nobody walk on you. I mean, you just don't have to. But I've seen the expats that have come here that turn their nose up at everything when it comes to the Americans or the British or whatever. It's kind of like, I keep seeing things like, oh my God, I can't eat that butter, or oh my God, I can't do that. I can't eat that because of that. Or they make a shitty steak here, or they don't have this, and that. And have I complained? I'm not going to be one of those channels that said, oh, I don't talk bad about this and I don't do that. No, actually, you have, but you're just doing content. But in general, yeah, I mean, I bitched about a lot of stuff in the beginning myself. I'm going to out myself. Okay. But I was also in an adjustment stage. But there's a difference between this guy right here that's telling people to shut up and screaming at him and stuff, and bitching because the pizza is too soft and I don't like the way the pizza is, or everything's got too much salt and sugar, or, you know, and then being told go home, whether it's a Filipino or whatever. And it's like, I'm going to be where I'm going to be. I'm a human goddamn being. I'm going to be wherever I'm going to be. You know what I mean? It's just where it is. So there's your attitude for the day and stick it. You know what I mean? You go where you go, I go where I go. You trying to go to my country, I'm trying to go to your country. Unless you're just really bad, then lock them up and throw away the goddamn key. That's just where it is. You know what I mean? So, but that's kind of where I'm at today. And that will be the discussion is, do Americans have attitudes? Do you feel the expats coming here should adhere to every single thing? I know you should, to the culture, and you have to adjust the culture. Different things like, let's see some of the points of, taking off your shoes, that there are certain foods that they like, that they have certain traditions and holidays and ways that they do things. There was something I had wrote down earlier, because it made sense. Kind of like there was a whole thing about like pointing and stuff. Like, one thing is that Filipinos tend to do this. They tend to tell you this or that when you're trying to tell you which way to go, or if you say, "Where's the bread?" It's like that, right? Because they feel pointing the finger is rude. Us Americans be like, "Get your shit out of my face now." You know what I mean? And if you see a Filipino with their finger up, you can just about assume there's problems. Okay, so finger pointing is rude to them. When you start adjusting to the culture and you've been here a while, you get past the bugs and the snakes and the heat and everybody being up to here to you and losing George in a crowd, then you're going to adjust, people. You'll adjust, either love it or hate it. But that's on each expat to do that. So, but there's different things, guys. Just overall, it's a lot of adjustment. A lot of adjustment, and I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And then I thought about a lot of things I heard in the beginning is, oh, she's too bougie and she's too this. No, I don't want to sit with AC on for 6 to 8 hours or whatever when they hear the electric bill was 17,000 pesos. Like, we had an electric bill one time that was that high because it was on all the time. Doesn't make me bougie. I just want AC. I want the basics. Like me and George got into huge fights over that shit. I didn't know we would be paying almost $300 in electric bill, okay, to keep AC on part time. And all the other time I was sweating. And so it was one thing. And then I thought it would be super easy to get a housekeeper. Technically, it is and it isn't at the same time. Depends on the type of help you want. You could go through a lot of housekeepers. Depends if you want to pay a bunch of fees and you got to go through agencies and you can get somebody that somebody else recommends. It was not easy. And just in the end, I just said, forget about it. And so there was a lot of things that I thought I could actually do and have and kind of see how it is. But I don't know. I guess you have to be a female expat to understand or to understand the side of go home all the time or, oh, how dare her or look at her, all that. And well, you don't have the right to talk about a Filipina. You don't have the right to say this. Oh, goddamn right I do. That's not going to stop. That's not going to stop. Don't you think too much of yourself as a Filipino or another expat to say that I can't say nothing. Shit. You better talk to somebody else today. You better find somebody else. No, sir. And I've been through too much goddamn shit. I think about the shit that I've survived to be told, oh, if you don't like those little beggars at the door, go home. Shit, you're going to leave my front door. I told George, let me get the hose. Let me get the hose. George said, calm down now. Calm down. Let me get the hose, man. But just get the hose. Getting pretty close to them burr months. Got just like 2-3 days, and then we're rolling into the burr months. They actually had a Perry Como Christmas list. That means one of you bitches have been watching it or something. Because when things come up in the feed, I haven't watched any Christmas videos or anything yet. And somehow, remember, if we have 23,000 subscribers, if one of y'all watch Perry Como, that shit is going to come into my feed. So thank you. Thank you very much. I got the songs all stuck in my head, man. You like the thumbnail? Yeah. I put one. We have the second channel that we run the live streams. But now I'm changing the thumbnails because when two of them come up, a few of you straggle over there, which is fine because it helps build the channel and the hours get on the channel and everything. But like some of you, like Sarah, will get stuck in there. She'll be like, hey, it's just me over here, and she can't see the rest of the conversation. So, but I changed the thumbnail so you guys can see that it is the second channel and be able to jump in there. Sarah, you in there by yourself? So, and I put this up, Magadano Maga. What is going on? Good morning. Kay Dallas is in the house. Always appreciated. Bench Jane, True Love. Yeah, if you're talking about us, I don't know. True Love is like, did you guys see George? Remember last year with the mistletoe belt? He was supposed to get that out the other day. And he like copped an attitude. And it was like I talked about it the night before. And he's sitting there all morning half asleep. And then he was like, I'll do it another time. And I was like, where's your Christmas spirit, man? Don't you want to choke me with it or something? Because he's ready to get me with that belt. It was funny. That was hilarious. He said, too many witnesses. If you guys remember last year, because he got behind me and he says, yeah, too many witnesses. Yeah, like falling down the stairs here. Let's see if George makes it through the Christmas holiday this year. So, what a hot mess. Still say your prayers for George and his uncle. I don't know who needs them more right now. Maybe me. So, actually, yeah, it's kind of, I bought the cups a long time ago, but I don't think there's actually an ube coffee here. Like, I was thinking about that. I've seen different flavors. Mostly you'll just get the caramel macchiato, the caramel in the coffees. You will get the mochas, and then they do the Americano. They'll add espresso. And believe me, as of a couple years ago, they've added a bunch more on. I've seen more of the Christmas coffees, more and more things I'm discovering and everything. But I'm like, I'll do this myself. So I dumped some vanilla and ube. And yesterday I made my own gingerbread coffee. I had ordered some online. that was instant, and that way I can just make it real quick. It's still been 2 weeks and it has not arrived at all. So I just threw my own stuff in there, and so it's actually pretty good. I can actually taste the flavoring. So good morning, good evening to all. What's going on, the Philippine Antics family? Good morning. Are you Kopiko? Kopiko, isn't that just coffee, or am I caffeined? I know cafe is just coffee, but Kopiko is coffee. It's one of the companies here. I love them 3-in-1s. I fell off the wagon 2 days ago on junk, and I was telling you guys that when I was in the last live stream. So basically, it's probably been in 3 days. But I ended up, something I haven't done in a long time is I got ice cream, because it's the one thing I just won't make, low sugar, whatever. I've tried everything. When I make it myself, it goes in our freezer and it gets so rock hard by the time it melts and it's all liquid. And so I know there are different ways of doing it and making it soft. And I was like, screw it, man. I just bought some. It was a marshmallow strawberry. What else was it? Strawberry vanilla or something. And took a couple bites and it was super sweet. And then I got a bag of chips and I was like, because George, he was with his uncle and I was watching some movies and junk food out. But I jumped off them 3-in-1s probably about a year and a half ago, because the 3-in-1s, I would put two. I don't have my mug, but you know my big gray or my black mug or the tan one I have, I'd put two in there. Then I realized it's like 30 grams of sugar in there, and I would drink 3 of those a day. Like, I wasn't really eating nothing, but I was doing that. I'm still gaining weight, and it was like a fixation or something. That was like it was like crack, man. I was like, coffee crack, coffee crack. You know what I mean? It was. I'm a sugar freak, man. Hence my size. Hattie Fluffy. Oh man, I love sugar. I know some of you say, "Oh, I take a steak any day or fish or whatever." Hell no, I'd sit around sucking on sugar cubes all day long. Could be my anxiety, ADHD shit too. I think it's all tied together. But I think it's because as a kid, I didn't do a lot of sugar. My mom didn't do a lot of sugar. We only got candy at like Easter, like the good old days. We got McDonald's once or twice a year. And any extras was because it was a special holiday. Now kids get that shit all day long, and they get coffee. Shit, I didn't even get coffee until I was like, I didn't even get it when I turned 14, when I spent the summer with my grandmother. Literally, I think I was like, when I moved out of the house almost, my mom didn't let me have coffee, and I was in high school. I was like, now you see kids like these kids out here asking me for coffee all the time, like little ones that are like 5. It's like, what's up? What's going on? Okay, just want to make sure everything's been off, and it seems that the internet and all that's been working lately. Knock on wood. Nighttime, yeah, probably about 9:20 p.m. give or take, and on the East Coast. So then I'd make that about 6 in the afternoon, 6:20 in California. Hey, John Ryder is in the house. Talking poop and not wanting to live in a hut with a dirt floor is not being superior to others. But yeah, they do feel that though, because I've been watching that 90 Day Fiance, and I'm with that family. Oh God, what is their name? It's that young guy and his wife. I think her name's Mary. And that's the couple where they slept with their phones on all the time. So they got constant jealousy. And now they're just running everything on Facebook. So now that they weren't brought back to 90 Day Fiance and he's living here, they've been doing everything social media, including putting their kid on there. And by the way, who names their kid Midnight? Tell me what you guys think of the name Midnight. I can't believe they named their kid Midnight. They call her the Midnight. And I have no idea. I don't want to know what they do at midnight. But they're a young couple. Initially, he didn't have any money. He came with $300. That was his remaining money after everything. But the fool paid for a house in advance. Now, I get it because Odette wiped her family home out, so he built it for her. He got there, and they were supposed to wait and get married and wait and have, the deal. but they didn't. They didn't keep their hands off. She ended up pregnant less than a month later, and then they got married down the road. But the whole thing about him is that's what they kept saying about him is how bougie he was. And in the beginning he did. Now he's like, oh, this is my life as an American in the Philippines. This is what we do, and I enjoy it. And this is what I do. Well, yeah, you've been here for a couple years. I get it. But he's promoting, so he's not going to say. I haven't heard him say any truths about anything. The only one that was really for it is when his mother showed up. Like there were bugs and snakes, everywhere, and it's just the setup. She told it like it was when she went through the province area. This is really poor. These people are really, really poor, and these are shacks. And she goes, this is really bad, because that is the first impression I got when I got off the plane is I thought Egypt was bad. I thought places in Mexico were bad. This really does put it at a different level when I came through Angel City, through the airport during the pandemic. And but then you have the places in Makati that are all bougie and all that. But I'm not paying a couple $1,000s to live bougie when it isn't even that bougie. So I didn't, I came here for, a different level, a different life. But the mother just flat out said it was like it was. I can't believe my son came here. And I know they got to be dramatic for the show. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It doesn't mean we have to like it. And I'm kind of surprised these days because I've seen probably 30 new vloggers that I'd never seen before. Their accounts seem to be 1 or 2 years old, but they're living out in the province. We talk about these guys that these like Old Dog and all these other vloggers that we discuss. That's just a handful of them here. Now there's a new generation of these guys coming in their 30s, working online and living out in the province, literally with dirt floors, and it shows these guys cooking and some of them aren't even working. And so I don't know, a whole different level. But it doesn't mean, because I want AC. And I told Georgia, don't get upset with me. I mean, we've had several fights. Don't get upset with me. I wasn't raised here. Just like when the Filipinas and Filipino men go to America, they go through the same goddamn trauma or the same goddamn shit, no matter if they come from Russia or wherever. When they go to America, there is a major adjustment. I was not born with all this going on at once. And with Filipinos, the biggest thing I've learned is they don't know personal space. Like whether it's driving, whether it's just popping into the house. I don't have to worry about that with George's family because his family, in my opinion, are more colonized. Is that the word, Americanized? Like all of them. All of them sound like they're American. All of them have the basic, mentality. I wouldn't know if you a lot of people believe that's where they're from, but they were raised here. They were just a different class of family. And it's like, I don't have to worry about them coming here. But I do notice, and I've talked to other expats here, that it just seems like you lose your personal space. Even like you said, driving. It's the way they're all on top of each other. It's the way that they're pretty much clamored on top of each other. And I guess it's because of a space thing, because of the way they're living, that they like to do it. Maybe it's just generational. But for us Americans, I'm sorry. If I had 10, 12 people here all the time, or if I was, speaking of the Campbell family, remember the Campbell family? I guess he's still in America, David Campbell, and he would talk about how the family would just come in and take food out of the refrigerator, or how he was feeding them all the time. And I guess short of a holiday, that would piss me off. Even my own daughter, if she kept coming in all the time and just taking food, or I don't know. I guess it's everybody has a different cultural standard. Everybody has a different way. And sometimes I think you can remove all of that, because there are tons of Filipinos that don't act Filipino. There are a ton of them that go into overdrive of Filipino, and you're like, yeah, they're Filipino. And you want to piss George off? I actually just say, you're really being Filipino today. Just like he'll say something about me as like, oh, you don't like when you do, when it comes back at you. But it's just where it is. It's just where it is. But I think the personal space thing, or they don't have, what was the other word that I used the other day about Filipinos? Let me see if I can find that for you guys. the personal space is a really big thing. Because I've read before about the situation. Well, the poor communication. Americans want to over communicate over every probably nationality. We want to talk. Hey, you! I want to talk. Come here. You know what I mean? It's and we can be loud. The absence of self-reflection. Um, Sometimes I find it can be intolerant or very different when it comes to Filipinos, but it can happen to me too. So I don't know. It's just where it is. Yeah, the Ozarks are nice. Been years since I've been there. Right? Darn, you had cereal for dinner. You must have been a rich family. Yeah, when my mom didn't want to cook and it would get down to the basics. I mean, my mom would cook like Polish food and German food. When we were in Ohio, we were in the German quarters. And my mom, I could, we would have sauerkraut and hot dogs. And to me, that was the greatest times. But there were just times she'd say, hey, have a bowl of cereal. And so it was usually always peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or a bologna sandwich. So when we would go and stay at my dad's house and he would order pizza, we'd freak out. But I think that's why when I busted out of the house and I got married, my first marriage, and I've talked about this, and my first pregnancy, it was all I did was eat. And I ate everything sugar. Like I ate a ton of cereal and fruity pebbles. And oh man, I went to town. It was near Christmas time. I drank probably 2 gallons of eggnog a day. I wasn't even kidding. I like doubled my weight then. So it was just crazy. It just, I was like a big kid. So, and don't you think all these expats acted the same way in the U.S.? Sure, yeah, that's what I mean. Whatever was going on there, as I've said for a few months, they definitely bring over here. And I know I brought a lot of stuff. I ain't gonna lie about bringing my own baggage, and where I've spoke of my own situation. I've had anxiety since a kid, so if I get in a large crowd, then sometimes I get nervous. But it's weird that I'm open with you guys like here, or sometimes I can get out and about and you'll see me on camera and I'm a certain way. But overall, I've always had a level of anxiety. Definitely brought that over here. And of course, when I get loud and whatever, because you can't put baby in a corner, that didn't change because the baby's in Asia. You know what I mean? You ain't putting baby in the corner in Asia either, bitch. So it's sure they did. Sure, they did. And there's a lot of that. I tried to find a few clips. The other one that I have, which repeats over and over again on YouTube, is that guy that gets into a fight with his girlfriend and he's complaining it's another American. Let me see if I could find the short. Wow, the level of AI stuff these days is just incredible. How much stuff on Facebook and social media now is AI. I and understand on Facebook, the accounts are totally like it was created by Meta. They create these extra accounts that are it's just crazy the amount of AIs. Yeah, this one has gotten 3 million plays. Um, but basically, it's an old guy with a young Filipina giving her a hard time, and this is played so many times. And I don't know why, being as I've seen it, it keeps coming up in the feed because it's got 3 million views. They're just going to keep throwing the same short up. But let me know if you guys have seen this one.
Oh, I had 10,000 in 500 peso notes. Oh, I had 10,000 in 500 peso notes. They're gone. She took it. Get out. Get out. You took it. Get out. Get out. Call the police. I want the police.
Anybody seen this one?
Call the police. I want my 10,000 she took from me.
This is your caregiver, sir? What do you know? What do you mean?
Caregiver, yeah.
Sir, calm down.
Nah, you can't push somebody like that. I'd have beat his ass.
It's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. I had 10,500 peso note.
Try that shit. Try that shit here. as soon as they mentioned that he was a caregiver, then he really got offended because basically that's probably what she was doing, was taking care of him. So, but they keep throwing that one. That literally came up the last couple days. I'm like, why? Why are they, showing the same thing over and over and over again? That guy, I'd have just, especially with that umbrella. He'd have been wearing that umbrella on the inside, and then I put him on a grill. Happy Wednesday from Pacific Standard Time. Yes. I wish I had, instead of ice cream, would have got a donut or something. So, Mike in his recent videos never mentioned Janet anymore. He's not disclosing anything to his viewers, though it's obvious. Oh, she hasn't been in at all? Yeah, if you guys don't see George in a week or two, then yeah, I would say, but I don't know how long. We don't really watch. They don't even come up in the feed. I can't stand how that channel specifically copied Old Dog, and then Old Dog led him on, which was strange in my opinion. Out of all the vloggers, it was a direct copy, and his channel runs exactly the way Old Dog's does as far as numbers, and I don't know. But it's the way I don't see, I don't give a shit if people watch me or not. The few $100s we get a month, I've repeated this, and I thought about the last time when I mentioned the money. It's definitely not about the money. That goes for the pets. I talk shit for free, you know what I mean? But when you specifically work like a dog and you constantly work like that dog over and over again, and you repeat, all these channels are a copy. Like the same with the travel vlogs. It just gets old because now they're copying the styles and the same locations. I found out that Jojo homeless guy from America that's Filipino, but I guess he was born there or something. I don't know what the deal. I have to get the whole story. Like 12 channels covered him like in the last 2 years, but once one seen it, they went and got the same interview from the same guy. And that was like Mark Thornton, all them. They just passed around the same interviews, and then Mike would cover them and everything. But yeah, I mean, if you're not with somebody and they're not in your life at all, then I feel you owe it to the viewers. Kind of like Peachback Mountain, American man and Filipino wife. For a long time, they lied, all during the pregnancy. She knew who she got banged with. She knew who the kid belonged to another expat. And then she had the baby, and then they all confessed. But the whole time, they're like, oh, we weren't scamming people. If you're collecting gifts and money and doing all these things and saying my Filipino wife, they weren't even married. Yeah, I think you should disclose all of that. I really, really think you should. 100%. If you're going on, I think so. But maybe he feels, being it's Mike's retirement, he doesn't have to. So, but hard saying. I couldn't even begin to guesstimate on that. I think in the last year I've seen one video that came up in our feed. I'm just not too much of a copycat channel. It's got to be interesting and real, and I just can't. So, yeah, he's not here now. Not tonight. Is it because he got thrown down the stairs? Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Yeah. No, still with his uncle. Now I will let you know he stayed the night there at the uncle's house last night. So, yeah. There are times that he's just out doing things for him, like picking up meds or whatever. This is several times a week. And then sometimes he stays over there. Sometimes he does with his granddaughter. And so it's a mix, but no, he's not here. Yeah, no stairs yet. I don't have any life insurance. All the expat YouTubers are talking about their failed marriages these days. There's a lot of them. I was just talking about that guy, and I wish I knew their name. They're going through Facebook now. They're the same ones that at one point said something about me and George and he is from Netherlands, I think. Big age gap, large age gap with the son. And I think his name, I thought he changed it. I don't know. I know she's got 2 or 3 Facebook. She had to change them, but she's kind of stocky and short. Like her face is super round, but she's tiny. And he's just up there in age. But anyways, they've been done broke up. But they were just bragging less than a year ago how they knew the guy that got off, the MMA fighter that got off, and they were best friends with the girlfriend, and only she knows the truth, and the other channel, which was us, was lying and stuff, and that, we're just this couple and we're lying. It's like, dude, them bar girls were contacting us. These ain't lies. You know what I mean? But we weren't on that bad side anyways. We were saying that the guy was a good guy, that there was nothing going on, and that, everything was what it was. They just broke up recently. And so now she's on there. I was saying this the other day, half dressed and different types of clothing, doing her Filipina typical Facebook shit of simping and dancing. And I seen so many of those videos yesterday, I thought I was going to throw up. That is just complete honesty. And I don't have to hide that shit. They probably don't want to see me as a fat American doing my American thing either if they constantly came up in a feed. And the more you watch them, they have less and less clothes till you're down to somebody that's practically breastfeeding. It's just insane. But this girl is getting worse by the moment since she broke up. It's like they go from one level to a level of half clothes overnight. And I don't know. Who knows? That's just my personal opinion. But they are breaking up. There's a lot of couples that have totally, it just seems to be the season. I think that being here as an expat couple is hard. And especially for the men, they will move on in 2.2 seconds the moment their Filipina does something wrong. You could trust and believe that. And now that I'm watching all these 90-day, it kind of ties into the YouTube world and everything. I noticed that these couples that are living overseas, they rarely work out in the end. They quickly break up, especially they showed the countries like the Dominican Republic. Where was the other country? Mexico was another place they've been going to. Philippines is number one for the couples leaving the U.S. and going and living somewhere, but Dominican Republic seems to have a lot of problems too. They call them hanky-sanky. It's where the guys are already gigolos at these hotels or bringing women over, and then these women are going to live the island life and all of that, and then turns out they've got like 20 girlfriends. That was George. Everyone wants to make that YouTube money to add to the SSS, I guess. Yeah. I forgot who was talking the other day. I heard him talk about, I think it was Mike. Mike's from Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. He had mentioned that he was surprised a lot of people. There was a discussion about Social Security and that it shouldn't have been relied on. Now, I would agree and disagree because a lot of people do. Like us, we did have 401ks that were quite up there, but life happened. Life happened, and it's not all we have. We still have some savings, but not a lot of it. And I think 50% of Americans have actually planned or less. So I'm not alone in that category of not having any money, but we won't die without 200 a month that we get from YouTube. And we've been at it for years. We're one of the originals too. And that includes everything all the way around for YouTube is 200 or 300. Now to a Filipino, 1600 pesos, 15 to 16,000 pesos, they'd be like, wow, that's a living here, which it is to some. But for us, it just goes, we spend over $200 on the pets inside and out alone. So, but it's nice, but I'm not like Old Dog or Mike or some of these other channels doing a video every freaking day and doing live streams every single day and out there interviewing people every day and producing content and paying people. Like a lot of them are even paying somebody to edit. And I'm like, no, it's not like that either. We do it mostly for the communication, like to be able to say, hey, and just because of our long-term people is the biggest reason we've held on. What is love? I don't know. I want to know what love is. If you go to a different country, you should try to embrace the culture. Yes, you should. There is a lot of it, and just in my last 5 years, some of it has changed. Like for me, like where I'd have been like, you know what, I'm okay, I'm all right, and I went through that whole stage, and the more I see the way the others are acting, it's kind of like, oh, you can't do that. But at least I acknowledge that I've made that mistake or that I had the same problem when I first got here. And you do. There's so many cultural differences, and depending on where you're at, totally. You could be down in Mindanao or somewhere here in Pampanga or somewhere in Cebu. Some of the stuff will change. I've seen even weddings change based on like the way they feed food. There's food rituals, like they feed them before they go in the door. I've seen a lot of different cultural differences throughout the Philippines, of course, all the different tribes and islands and everything. But yes, you have to. And when I see the people in Mexico or Dominican Republic or these other places that these couples are arriving to, the last one that I had seen was the girl from India when she went in there. When she went to go get married, the wedding lasted almost 24 hours. She was exhausted. By the time they got home, they didn't even get to do hanky panky. Like they had to wait till they built a shrine to whatever. And then I seen the cultural difference. Like they scatter cow urine all over the kitchen, like literally in the floors, and they actually put the cow dung, the poop, up on the counter, and they burn it and wave it all over the kitchen. She goes, "That's it. I'm done. I can't do this." And so there is some limits, but still you have to respect the culture. She made the decision to permanently move like me. Now, if that's what George absolutely needed, I guess I should have checked further into that. Me going without AC is something totally goddamn different. But something like that, I get why the American woman was like, "Oh, hell no." But they said that they consider it a micro, like it's a microbial, which it is. The more that stuff is around, the less sick you'll get. So it is their way of keeping, like practically they cleanse in it and stuff. I get that. It's the kids with all the vaccines and that showers with the antibacterial soaps and all that. Those are the ones that are getting sick. The girl that is from, it isn't Jakarta. She's from, trying to think of where she's from. Indonesia. She's always sick in America. Like her allergies and sinuses, and she's always got a sore throat. And I'm like, you know what? And she's always got headaches. The more I think about it, when I was in America, I had a headache every day. Every day. I still stress myself out. I stress Georgia times two, you know what I mean? But I think about it, I haven't had any of those. Every now and then I get the sinus infection. I have my lupus and I go through stages where my muscles and everything hurt, but I don't get all that. I mean, I'm having a little problem with my like asthma today, but I don't. That was probably because I was outside a bunch and I was like weeding through my plants and stuff outside, so I could have picked something up. Yeah, maybe it's yeah. So you do to some extent, and then you have to see if it's really, if you can actually do it or not, Robert, on embracing the culture. I don't know. I'm just thankful for the air conditioner. Right? I woke up this morning. I was like, "Praise Jesus, man." There's some things that I'm so grateful for now that if you'd asked me 24 months ago, I'd have told you to bite my ass. I'd have told George to bite my ass and everything. And I feel that I'm changing. And it would have, when I got here, I was like tripping balls. The first 10 days I was inside of an AC hotel. As soon as I get out, we paid a couple $100s to rent a house out to start looking for a place. And I'm like, we paid the money for this. So I'm busting George's ass over this house. You know what I mean? And then we started running the AC in the house. And then we found out we were paying almost $30 a day for AC. And I said, oh, hell no, not in this area. We're not. And so we ended up ACing one room at that point. There's like so much that we learned, but like the house wasn't even clean when we arrived. I was bitching about that. And they didn't even try to clean the sink out that had dirt and bugs in it. There were tons of bugs and spiders under the sink when we went to go reach for the pans. And there's all kinds of stuff that was tripping me out in the beginning. I was like, they didn't try to clean this. And they were charging us a housekeeping fee. Like, And I'm like, but who cleaned? So it was crazy. That's all. But now I'm like, I'm thankful that I have food, if it's rice. Back in the US, I'd have been bitching if I had to eat the same food twice in a month. That's how spoiled I was. And we were always eating out. We were always going to hotels and concerts. And then all of a sudden that stopped. So there was a level that me and George was spoiled before we headed to Mexico and then came to the Philippines. I was getting spoiled we was eating chicken wings and pizza all the time in Mexico. We had delivery out in the mountains. Morning, what's going on there? Good morning. You know what I do in the US? If I go to a restaurant or a store I don't like, I just don't go back, problem solved. Yeah, that's pretty much what George does. Same here. It's just you just don't go again. There's no reason. I now realize now, especially with my lupus and getting older even by 5 years, I'm like, it's not worth the energy no more. Age kind of gives you that perspective of, So that's what George says. When we get overcharged, let him overcharge us once. We just don't go back. They say hitting people, it doesn't solve anything. I disagree, but sometimes it's like, but contraire, I believe it will to some point, but you can't do it. You know what I mean? Good morning. Good morning, peeps. Man, that really is good. I just wish I had more ice. We bought an ice maker probably about 2 years ago. And it's been about 2 years. Yeah, probably been about 2 years ago. And it makes the ice. And we, of course, have a freezer and everything, but we want the constant flow of ice that's fresh. And we clean the ice maker and everything because it doesn't have one built into the fridge. But it seems to melt like really quick here, even with the dehumidifier. Well, speaking of which, I don't know what's up with that dehumidifier. If it gets to the mid to upper 90s, even 100 degrees, and living without AC to me is I lived for quite a while until we moved here and we got the split con. It ACs the whole downstairs. Now we get like what's like hot spots, which means the second half of the house has some. But then as soon as I start to feel that, my ass steps outside and I come back in. It's like, man, it feels good. And then George is like, it's cold in here all the time. You're like a polar bear. That's why he calls me Bubbly Bear, because in the beginning, like in Florida, I constantly had ice cold air. George kept his AC at like 79 in the United States. Literally, it was on 78, 79. He's like, don't you touch that. As soon as he'd go to work, I'd turn that shit to whatever I wanted in the house. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not going to put it like my house at 70, but 79, it never even kicked on. He had no fan, nothing. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm doing this. So, but I'm looking down at, I bought a dehumidifier a few months ago. Best money we spent. And some of these guys, Finch, have never left the country. Never left the country. And they've never even left their state. George says it all the time. They've left cities. And even like in Florida, if you go from Tampa to Miami, it's a whole different world down there. It's like little Havana down there. And little Havana. And where else is it? I can't think of the other country. There's a whole like section down there of the different Hispanic cultures, but they've never left the country. And then they come here and it is a very, 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 very big cultural shock. And honestly, the ones that are doing the YouTube, they're just sunshining it up. You know what I mean? And they watch 500,000 videos themselves. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. But I watch them because me and George will watch them in amazement how they do their videos or how they present the country. And it's only part of the perspective. And I can't believe people watch that and then they come here and they're like, oh, shit. And it's like, dude. you know and a lot of people believe all the island stuff and like all the stuff that they're showing, like they're showing right now a bunch of shit in Clark, and they're showing all the nice parts of Clark as if it's all of Angeles City or something, or that it's Pampanga, and it's not. It's kind of like showing the best parts of Florida and stuff, and then you get to the other ghetto areas, and It's like it's the same thing, but it is a different planet. It in the Philippines is it is crazy. Bad and bougie. Next live stream. Bad and bougie. Bad, bougie, and babies. Kids. My electric bill is about $300 a month because I do not turn off my AC when it goes from July or June. Goes off in September. Well, ours isn't that bad. The only reason it was up at 17,000 pesos at one point was because we had one of those literal standalone when we first got here because we didn't want to buy the window unit. Actually, at our other place, there was no hole for one. We would have to have done something. You have the ability to put up the split con, but we didn't know how long we'd be there. And then it was a standalone unit that cost us, I forgot what we ended up paying for that, $400 or $500 for it. And my God, the first electric bill that came in because we was running it all the time, all day in the room. And I was like, oh hell no, and that's no, we're not doing that. And then the next one was 12,000 for part time, and I'm like, yeah, no, we can't do that. So the very first one at that house was over 350. So now our last bill with it running all the time with the dehumidifier, fans, microwaves, we use all kinds. Like if a Filipino come in here, they'd have a stroke. I heard there was a breakdown in Pampanga where they did an article for, I think it was Mabalacat or just living in Pampanga itself. They were trying to say that the average electric bill was 600 pesos. And I'm like, shit, their basic fees are that much. It doesn't matter if somebody doesn't use just one small fan and charge their phone all month. It's bigger than 600. The Filipinos called their ass out all day long on the cost. It's the same when you see about living in America or living here and people give their budgets and stuff. But I couldn't believe the budget breakdown. Let me see if I could find the article because I was going to do that and I was like, no, there's no way that it was even possible. We could be wrong. No, I mean something else I'm looking at here. Could be wrong. Yeah, Danuco family vlog. That's that 90-day couple. I think her name is Mary and I forgot his name. It says here to live in Pampanga, you'll need 25 to 35,000 pesos a month to live in this area. In Pampanga, that would include a big area, Angel City, Mabalacat, and they're like, oh hell no, it's not that expensive. It depends if you're living bougie. But on the other hand, I couldn't live on that because it would probably, but they're saying you can live very comfortable. That's about 700 a month or less. 700 to 5, because 5 times 5 would be 25,000. So yeah, 500 to 700 a month is what they're saying you can live very comfortable in this area. But a lot of them are like, there's no way. there's like no way. Once you get in certain subdivisions, rent starts at 1,000 a month. If you're looking at something Americanized or part bougie, like getting off a food stamp situation, then it's going to be at that 1,000, 1,200. It just doesn't work like that. And they called them out so quick as Filipinos, and I just thought it was like, yeah, someone here says they're paying 18,000 to live, 20,000, and they go into comparing like living in Manila. And let me see if I can find the article. If you're staying in the Tri-City area of Pampanga, which is like San Fernando, Mabalacat, or Angeles, a one-bedroom apartment is 5,500. Shit, if I could find a one-bedroom at that cost and was halfway decent, maybe we just run a studio or something. It depends. You'd probably be in a pretty ghetto place at that cost for a one-bedroom. Because it's hard to find those now. I know that there's several of the apartments that start 10 to 12,000 pesos a month. 15,000 would seem about right. A studio apartment is 22,000 on Clark. see. You can do a boarding house at 2,000. I don't know. It would still be bad. There's some months that we've gone through 100,000 pesos and we don't go nowhere. Depends if it's medical or the pets need something, or it's a holiday and we're buying something. 100,000, which is about 2 grand. We on average spend 1,800 US to 2,000 a month. So I just can't see that, and we're not even bougie here. I would, bougie, bougie, bougie. Hey, Slick Rick, what is going on? What is going on? Cowboy. Yes, you should be entitled to your opinion about whatever country you live in. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to lay down and just say, okay. You know what I mean? There's this kind of you know, it's there. I just told George I felt like a lot of things were going over the both of our heads in the beginning when we got here. And I'm like, I'm not going to take this shit. There was a level of where a lot of you guys knew that we had those kids. And then during market day, other kids would come around and like they were standing on the roof of our car and setting fires across the street. I said, George, your car is there. You're not going to say nothing or go, we had fights on air in front of you guys about that. If I go out there, I'm whooping ass and taking names later situation. I'm sorry. There's just going to be a level you're getting off my car. Like, you guys seen the TikTok videos recently? And I know a lot of them are set up. I understand that. But some of them are real where that kid was going through the market, knocking everything off the shelves, and the parents just didn't want to do nothing. I'd have got the back of the hand or a handprint on my back from my mom if I'd even thought about picking up candy and putting it in a cart alone, let alone knocking bakery goods on the ground and kicking them everywhere and slamming doors and breaking things. No, their ass needs to be beat. And those kids were setting fires that day and on his roof. And he finally got up and went out there. And I'm like, yeah, there's like levels. Like, there's ways to handle it. And usually Filipinos and expats start to have differences when it comes to some of these things because they're kind of passive on that stuff. It's like, oh, just leave them alone; they'll be okay. And it's just, I'm sorry, something's got to be done. And that's where we get, oh, you Americans and all that. But if I was in America, I'd be beating ass. Now, here's the thing: you still have to keep in mind that you could end up in jail. You still got to keep in mind that there's a way of handling it. You got to center your anger. But in general, when it comes to something like that, you're supposed to go get the barangay captain. You're supposed to rely on your spouse to help you. And that was like that one couple, that Jim guy or whatever. He sent his woman out there to go deal with stuff while he was recording in the background when that fight broke out that one time. And I'm like, dude, did he just send his wife to argue with his uncle that had a knife in his hand? And I'm like, what the hell? There's just a level when you got to get involved no matter what the outcome is. If them kids were going to cave in our roof and set our car on fire, I'm not going to stand by on the chance I'm going to end up in a Filipino jail. Just like we have bitches talk about they were going to come to our house, bring your ass here, see what happens. I will sit and smile in a Philippine prison all day long over that shit. You ain't going to sit there and run me out, scare me, or do all that shit because I'm a foreigner. My ass is going to be who it is, and you ain't going to do that. I'm not going to take that either. You know what I mean? It's just where it is. It's sorry. I'm gonna smile for a long time. You got the right one. You're not going to do it. I just couldn't believe some of the stuff I've seen, and it's like, you're not going to do nothing. Shit. If I do it, you know, I don't know if you're going to be asking Jesus or who you're going to be talking to after that one. Play with it if you want to. See where my hormones are for the day. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys haven't hit the like button on that, like George would say, hit that for George and do a thumbs up. Consider our memberships. We've got the videos on there. I'm still trying to get him to edit the few that he has and get more of them on there, and got the photos. I know there's over 80 something, 80 to 100 videos on there now. I think the last he was saying. And then, of course, we have the photos, and it helps with everything, guys. The support does help, and it's appreciated. Keeping the keeping the lights on here at headquarters and heading into the Christmas spirit. We got to keep George in his gin and hot chocolate. Support George's gin and hot chocolate at the family home. So they've been discussing taking his uncle. There's a facility in Manila that deals with what is that? I just went right out of my head. I was going to say with the diabetes. Um, he's got kidney issues, and so there are different things that he's dealing with, and it looks like it's going to have to be a long-term facility. So, but yeah, so he spends time. I haven't hid that he spends time there at the family home, but he definitely did an overnight last night. So sometimes he shows up, and sometimes he doesn't. Guys, here late. We told you since last year we've been struggling on that. So him being at the family home, which is a couple miles away. So it's in San Fernando. I think it's about 5.5 miles away. No, I never made it to Yosemite National Park. Nope, never did. I never, until I went to California and came up through Mexico when we were in that area, I'd never been to California. That was the first time for me. So I'd been to California and we drove, that area, but I've never been, we just went and drove through and went through Texas, dropped in, and then came up into California, but never made it to that area. Hey, what's going on, bad boy? Heidi forgot. What is the best time of the month to come to the Philippines, please? In my opinion, it is the Burr months: November, December, January, February. So, but you got to start watching for the rainy season because it depends on the area. You start traveling into February, March, April, and you start getting into the rainy season. Then you're just going to have it rain all the time. It's been raining recently. It slowed down. I think we're in the second half of it raining. It'll stop somewhere in November. In my opinion, if you're coming to see the Philippines, honestly, anytime so you can get used to whatever's going on, but it rains during them times. So December when it cools down, end of November. So yeah, right. Yeah, right, Darren. Right. It'd be in a bag, yeah. I can't wait to see the skits he's going to do this year. I've been laughing at his videos here lately. It's when I went through, I'm the one that did the Christmas video this morning. I'm like, I just remember the mistletoe bell. I said, "Is that upstairs?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And I was like, "You got to break that out again." It's like, and sometimes I just call him out. You are not funny today. You need to be funny, man. Be funny today. But some days it surprises me because, like he said, neither of us were social media a few years ago at all. Barely taking photos. And then we went into it like when social media was really picking up. And now I just get amazed at how professional people are right from the beginning. It's like these kids are born social media and stuff. And it's awkward. It was awkward for George. Like you said, I'm barely on my phone. I've barely done this. But it surprises me sometimes. He's just absolutely hilarious. And George will tell me the same, "You weren't funny today," or "You did this." I'm like, "You just weren't funny at all." And we kind of bust each other's chops, but unscripted for the most part, unless I like planned to show a video or we had went through something. You never know what you're going to get. We don't even decide titles unless we know in advance. Like I've been wanting to cover that homeless American that was a drug addict that got deported. I planned to cover him, but I thought I was going to do it yesterday. Sometimes we don't plan that far in advance for stuff like today. I literally, he was not here last night. Woke up and I'm like, no, let me cover the attitude thing because I seen that video this morning and it was last minute. Fly Eagles fly. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Sperlin? Fly Eagles fly. No, not yet. I'm waiting for him to get his Social Security too. So maybe I want to move to Clark too. So, but honestly, the longer I'm here, I don't even desire now for the dogs not to bark or the chickens. Like We moved in this neighborhood. There were no freaking chickens. Like literally, I was surprised. And now, outside of the gate of my house, on any given time, there could be 6 or 7 chickens out there. If I'm spraying the concrete down out here and there's water out there, they're drinking the water, or there's chickens all the time. But I guess now I'm really just starting to adjust. I'm just happy to have the AC. When are you doing a collaboration with King Marcus? When he contacts me. I wouldn't mind, actually. It would not, I think he's hilarious. And I think the thing and the skit he does with his wife, which is a skit, is when he brings in her sister or whatever. It's all social media, baby. So I have found that all these vloggers, even the ones that have talked shit, are pussycats. So don't think it's the same with the beef through the football players or beef with these singers. They all get along on the backside there in Hollywood. I'm telling you, the beefs are not real. Until that person walks up and punches me in my eye, then it's just where it is. But I myself think that'll be great. But as I'm to understand, he's out in the province, and I'm not traveling to visit nobody. A few of our viewers, I would do it, and we would sit down and have coffee and make arrangements. But we're invested, but not invested anymore. I think the reason we've hung on so long to do the channel is, one, you guys are you're my peeps, and I like, it's for the basic people that we have, and then it is the conversations and still giving information. We do more one-on-ones, and we do messenger conversations, both me and George, with people that are out there. It's now just become secondhand that we're actually doing it. But collaborations, we did some interviews in the beginning, and but I'm just burned out on how many vloggers there are. It's no longer special. So sitting down with Marcus, like what? If that had happened 3 or 4 years ago, that'd have been much more appreciated. But we got shunned from the very beginning. Nobody was going to sit down with an American woman. A lot of them still won't. And you could say it's because I talk shit or whatever. No, they just won't. They want to be seen with other bigger male vloggers that have their own agenda and their own, and some are getting paid. We told you a lot of these big vloggers. I wouldn't be surprised if Marcus charges to do those type of videos. So it's just what they do. Have you guys noticed now on Facebook, it now says you can do those space videos with them, that they'll send you a special message and video. And I'm like, should we offer that? And it's like, no, we already do it for free. We talk one-on-one, and we already put out the content. We don't get paid for Facebook. We don't get paid for TikTok. We have 21,000, and we stopped doing that because we've had 21,000 for like 3 years, and the numbers never change. They want us to pay them to increase those numbers and to advertise every video. So when we don't, we only get 200 views, which are our regular support people. And I won't pay Facebook either. We won't pay YouTube. YouTube has become a pay to play, and when they are. There's that guy called Go Joe or whatever. That bitch has got I thought he had 18,000 subscribers, which is increasing by the day, and he gets 32,000 views or 18,000 views. It's like impossible. I'm not paying to play. I'm not paying the only couple $100 we have to come in to advertise our videos or to increase fake numbers. It's not real people that are there. Did you guys see Will Smith too? That Will Smith, when his concerts are empty, they're AIing in the people. You can't believe nothing no more. Mm-mm. If I'm paying, when we pay, we'll let you know. We'll say, geez, the other 55,000 people that are not here today in my live stream are not here because we paid. You know what I mean? You ever wonder how all of a sudden, who was it the other day? A big channel had 108 people in there, but then the next person had 600 and only had 10 comments. I'm like, hello, bots. But it's quite normal. But I wouldn't doubt on that collaboration. So in case y'all didn't know, now you know. That's why they hate us. We're hitting the casinos. Marco Polo and New Star in 2 days. Marco. Do behave. Hey, Raymond. Hey, I gotta keep being me, and here's a bonus about George being at the family house. This still does give me time to actually not get the side eye from George or hey, 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 and then I lose my concentration. It allows me to be a jabbermouth. So it's just, it does. And so it's been a while since George. Maybe we ought to just have George do a live stream where he is too. I never thought about that. So, or we need to do the next live stream out, which we're supposed to go to a lunch in a couple days. Maybe we should do another one of our lunch live streams, guys. So that'd be interesting. I did. No, I didn't. I want to. That last box of donuts that we got, George literally ate them. I refused to. The only time I had eaten something where I broke whatever in the last 3 months was was the sandwich. He had gotten the breakfast sandwich. It was made with the 2 pancakes from Jollibee. So it's an egg, bacon, and 2 flapjacks. I didn't add no honey, no syrup or nothing, which was bad enough. I pay for it because like my stomach bloats up and then my joints hurt twice as bad. And then I ate that bag of chips a few days ago and some ice cream. The whole pint or whatever it is that's up there is still up there. But I want it. But no, he ate those last ones that came in that we showed. And Krispy Kreme is doing, it's the cat ones that we had, but Krispy Kreme is now doing Hogwarts. I guess there's a new movie coming. I love donuts too. Ain't will lie about that. Maybe George will bring donuts. If you bring donuts. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Either way, buy some donuts. Sorry, Heidi. I had meant to say, are you drinking Coca-Cola? Yeah, no, that's actually you can see that it. See at that angle. No, that's the mic cover, but that's red. No, that's yeah. Nope, it's ube coffee. I have some French coffee that I've been making, and I use the pure cream powder that has no sugar. Mostly, it doesn't have a chemical. I think it has a starch in there. But I was using canned milk from Angel till I realized it had 10 chemicals and sugar in it. I thought it was pure too. Should have paid attention to that, but that I'd stopped using it months ago. I was using coconut milk, which was going through me, which had more sugar. And then I realized the powdered Anchor milk that's pure cream, full cream, has little to nothing in there. It has the healthy fats in there. And that's what I've been using for coffee creamer. And then I use it to make yogurt. I use it for everything, actually. Hi, good morning, Victoria. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, buttermilk biscuit, what is going on? Heidi, why did you choose Angel City to live in? I hear there are a lot of American foods there. The American food's all over the Philippines. I was really surprised. All the fast food restaurants are here. George is from Angeles City, and George's family is here. Actually, we just said they're in San Fernando, but he was born and raised and went to school here in Angeles City. He was here during Pinatubo and everything. So, and the reason we came here, besides that, and his brother's a doctor here and works in 2 hospitals here, is because the hospitals, Clark, as some of the better hospitals, they have good dental here. And so, for those that don't realize that Angeles City is just not 2 or 3 streets of, the working girls. And those working girls are all over the Philippines, just like they're all over the United States. They're all in the slum areas. They're everywhere. So walking street in that situation is 2 streets. Besides that, there's a lot of historical buildings here and a lot of things to do. So we choose to be here because also, in my opinion, if you're in the right area, like George chose here, we don't even see an inch of water here. We get a lot of wind and we get a lot of, about the worst thing we deal with is the destruction of like the wind. It's tore up some of the tarps that we had, where we had it above the dog. And it's mostly because we're not being flooded out here and we're on the outskirts of Angel City. We go in and out of the city and we go to the malls there and everything. To get to the walking street area is less than 2 miles. The airport's just a few miles. To get to the mall is just a few miles. And we're actually in a really good position. So, safety, it's just a better area. So, we're near the airport. So, if something happens, then we can just take off. So, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, I could walk And my legs and knees are just shit right now, especially with the lupus. And I could still manage if I had to walk. So let's just say there was destruction. I could. Let's say something went down and it was like, hey, you guys got to get out, get your passport. Then we're still close enough. Thank you so much. I didn't, yeah, without, I got to open the app or the tablet up so I can see further down. But thank you so much. That is so appreciated. Thank you. Oh, the cats. Were off the chain this morning, man. They were chasing. The dog got down, started chasing them, and then I was sitting there trying to eat oatmeal, which has the nut seeds, and I put some peanut butter in it today. I couldn't keep the cats off me. I guess they like peanut butter, but they were just crazy today. Thank you so much. Doesn't have to be midnight, could be delight, right? It's a strange name. But that couple's been called out over and over again. They're putting that baby on social media. They hooked up with No Neck Eds. I talked about that in the last live stream. No Neck Eds, Rose, they're doing TikTok dances with her now. It's like screams pure desperateness. But the dude had $300, but all of a sudden he's got a brand new car, additions to the house, like all this money that came in from 90 Day must have paid for it. And they're just doing additional stuff now because he had nothing when he arrived. I don't even know when he had $300 how he ended up getting that for just her dress and his tuxedo here when they got married. Of course, it was 90 Day money, fiance money that paid for a lot of it. Also, scams saying she had cancer to get donations. Yeah, and then later she reverted. Yeah, I was saying it last one. They've been coming up in my feed on Facebook. Now I'm actually watching them because it's just like it's amazing some of the stuff he says and does. I think at one point we covered it. Was that one of the guys that made fun of the food at some point where it was disrespectful to the family? When you are living under a bridge, then that is really bad to me. Yeah, those, and that really opens your eyes when you see those kids, especially here at Abacan. Like, they've got head lice so bad their hair's falling out. Like, and they don't even, mm-mm. I couldn't even imagine. And by the way, if you guys didn't hear, Bannon Man is no longer doing the program anymore. I think I talked about in the last thing, which is sad because they're turning it over, or he says he hopes that the Filipino was going to take over the program. I didn't even hear it was a for sure, and I'm sure they will, but he wants them to keep going. Let's hope it's not like, and this will offend some people, the Filipino projects where they start something and then there's so many overturned businesses here. They borrow a ton of money, they open it up, and it goes down in just 2 or 3 months. We'll see businesses up and down within a year, 6 months, 3 months. And I just hope whoever takes it over continues it. He's done it for a long time. I forgot, 10, 20 years or something. It's crazy. And I still feel that the thing going on with the pastor was something that just broke his spirit. He was really broken on that. And I wouldn't trust the system at this point either. Unfortunately, never forget it's a third world country. Even if you do your best, you could still end up in shit here. So why not just act like shit all the time? Just kidding. Okay. Take that on your live stream. Let's see. Who forgot to hit the like? Yeah. And guys, let me know. I'm curious. A lot of you guys watch our YouTube channel. Let me know who some of your favorite YouTubers, who you guys got your information from, who have you guys been watching for a long time. And just say, because you're talking with people in the room too. People will rewatch this. We have where this will replay. Just let people know, who gives the better advice, um, who inspires you, who doesn't inspire you. Did you just wing it and come here? Kind of like us. We watched some of Old Dog, which a lot of that stuff, a lot of Old Dog stuff in the beginning was Baby May and her friends during the pandemic. He was not doing a lot of the full expat advice that he's doing now. Like, he honed in on that in the end. In the beginning, when we seen him, it was more entertainment, and we liked his spirit. And definitely always did Sunshine Shoulders. We did Philly in the Philippines. We watched King Marcus, and let's see, there was only X amount of them in this area, or that we were watching through. We did not watch Thornton at all at that point. Thornton was after the fact, and that was only to watch what he was doing. Actually, let's see who else. We watched Kulos for the most part, becoming Filipino. So, and any of his people, the Fighter Boys, and so that was pretty much it. We just watched. There wasn't a whole lot, but now there's like a dozen that are copying and doing, and but yeah, man, I got to do something. I don't know. Ugh. See, if I wash these, they're just going to fade out. But every time never fails. Itchy, itchy. Bang! I did hit that button. Now the rest of you guys do the same. Thank you. Hey, Vet Vlogs. Good morning from San Antonio in the house. Don't forget to hit that button. Thank you, San Antonio. I'm hoping to fly into Clark Air Base September 18. I think it's just a couple miles from Angel City. Maybe I could see my favorite stars. Sure, definitely get a hold of us. Coming in on September 18th. Contact us a few days before and say, okay, I got da da da. That way we know between the live streams and with his uncle that we can both set up to come in. And if anything, then we'll send George in to do the job. Hey, George, go. So George has done one-on-ones with people where he's gone and when I had bad days and stuff. There you go. Is your hair oiled up? Actually, I know you could see it. It's where I washed it. I took a shower this month, but it is more conditioned. That's what I was trying to do was oil it down, and because I've done it before. I had an aunt that did it all the time. She was in the military, and she was in the army, and she had short haircuts, and then she would comb it over on one side. So it was kind of for my aunt. So yeah, I was trying to do something different instead of throwing on a wig like I did last time. Americans may be loud, but we don't turn our backs and have Tampa. That's my problem in my relationship with George. I mentioned that is that when he'll get upset, I can go probably an entire day without him saying anything. I can't go more than a few hours. I'm the first one to say sorry and all that. I can't get him to budge. And I haven't hidden that fact. I talked about that in the last live stream, and I watched one of the 90-day things. It's on HBO. By the way, HBO's feeding me all this shit. I'm not even finding this stuff on YouTube. There's a whole 90-day thing on the HBO Max app here. She said that her man he stopped talking to her for 2 or 3 days in the same house. I was like, oh, hell no. I mean, what would you guys do if your person stopped talking to you for 2 or 3 days inside the house, just passed by you all the time, and you guys were married? And I was like, yeah, that's a little crazy. So it's, yeah. No, we have to talk and communicate, and there's got to be a level of communication. Anything more than a day, I had to put him in the doghouse. The Elvis look, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Victor, what is going on? And you're right, AI is in its infancy, even from the last year. Even though we have Gemini, because we pay for the service, it's one of the more inexpensive ones. It's still got good stuff to it, which is through Google. I didn't mention that. It's got where we can do different things with it. The videos are getting better, and the AI companion or bot or whatever is really crazy, but it's in its infancy for sure. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. The next 5 to 10 years will be crazy. It's kind of like when Windows came out and AOL and a lot more. I mean, I know the internet's been around, but when all that came out, then that's really when things, and then Remember in 1995, 96, like 1 out of 10 people or had, well, let's see, yeah, probably 1 or 2 out of 10 had a cell phone, or you had the pagers or whatever. I just seen where they showed a Radio Shack and they showed this is a new device, and they were showing like the cordless phones. They were like $300 in the beginning. It was crazy, crazy. The guy is going nuts over $175, and that's really old situation with the guy. Yeah, that plays over and over again. I've seen that probably for 4 years here. I don't know why it keeps playing, but I thought I would play it because he's going off and he's an American. No, that it's forever been playing. Just like they keep showing me the same Walking Street clip. It shows. It was like during the pandemic. It shows a girl walking slowly down Walking Street, and it's an expat channel that has these videos. And I'm like, wow, why do you keep feeding the same shorts to people that are sometimes YouTube's crazy. Not all experts are the same. I'm a veteran scholar and a man in love. I am a woman in love, and I do anything. Yes, I treasure people, especially my family, with deepest respect and humility. The way you treat others defines you more than your expertise ever will. I agree, but I'm not. For me, I see most people like that. I wish I had it together like that. I mean, if somebody acts out, including my family, I just have to call them out. I seen the 90 day at the end. They did that tell all, and one of them screamed something at the girl. And when she cussed her out, she was like, "Oh, well, that wasn't the way to act." And I'm like, "Well, shit, you shouldn't have talked to her like that to begin with." So, unfortunately, yes, respect begots respect, and if you're wrong, at least admit you're wrong. I'll find here in the Philippines they're wrong, and they'll never apologize. They go silent, tampo on you, and you will not get that apology most of the time. Like you'll get the stare. Oh, hell no. You know what I mean? So if you disrespect, I believe that. But if you get disrespected, what you dish out, you better be able to take. But I mean, I wish I had more of the stoicism to walk away. But there's a level how you actually handle things. But I get you. You know, if the family's all respectful and everybody's respectful, that is good. What is going on. Actions and attitude reflect the values of the individual, and an attitude is the disposition to respond positively or negatively towards the object, person, concept, or situation. Yeah, I mean, 100%. But begotten, do unto others as others have done unto you. You're either going to walk away and ignore the whole thing, but then that person's got to be out of my life if that's what I'm doing. And that includes, everybody. And some people can do that. Unfortunately, I'm just one of those that tend to react. So if you're nice with me, that's the way George is. If you're super nice with him, then he's super nice. If you go and do like that Grab driver did and held his food and then said something about him acting like an American, he went off on George, and George, that's the shit you didn't see. He cussed him out. That was ugly that day. And George never is like that. But there is levels, and there's a time and place in most situations. And most of those that are saying that, I'm not saying you, Joselito, but I guarantee at some point in time that was not the actions. It's easier said than done situation on that. I'd like to be on everybody's shoulder that's, that actually says that until they're actually in that situation. Nobody's life is perfect. Nothing is, what it seems on social media or in other people's lives. Usually, the nicer and more put together they're acting, that everything else is falling apart. So, and if I didn't say Timothy, good morning. I was trying to read the next one, but good morning. Mike made Janet quit her channel. Yeah, I had heard about that because guys were hitting on her. Oh, yeah. Well, there's nothing new. She absolutely quit her channel. She's saying goodbye to her viewers in her last entry unless something changed, which could be hard. I mean, that could also be a downfall in some issues. Thank you so much. Yes, I remember that couple you were communicating with. Yeah, I forgot. His channel is Rainbow something something. And at that time when I seen him, I was like, how the hell did they get 100,000 subscribers? I kind of know how they did. But she's bigger on Facebook as a Filipina. She does all that typical laugh track stuff, and you know how they do all that weird stuff where they come out. I can't even begin to explain how the Filipino TikToks, YouTube, Facebook stuff is. Mostly with the tracks and everything. It kind of reminds me how they did it in Mexico and some of the Spanish cultures, but I get it now and I don't get the humor. Like, it's weird. If I try to crack a joke, it's not funny. But it's yeah, now they're not even together and they were going on about how strong they are, and it was just like, yeah, okay. Attitude is the learned predisposition to respond cognitively, effectively, and behaviorally to a particular object person. You copying that because that's not normal for someone to talk like that. Not now, not never. Joselito, that would. Sorry, but I mean, I guess so. And I'd probably say not. I'll say attitude is a learned predisposition. No, no. It could just be something chemically inside them as far as an attitude, not be able to control it based on pain, based on experience, based on fear, based on, it's not based on something learned. Someone can all of a sudden just get an attitude because they're scared to death. So it could just put them into a full, and just be attitude all of a sudden because they're not understanding. But I would disagree with that. Yeah, I hear. Until recently, I didn't even watch what was really going on. I know a lot of the expats here have been in the DR, so that is for sure. There is zero chance I would go to DR. It's dangerous. Well, the other 90-day group, he's in Africa. He's in South Africa, and he's in a good subdivision, and his woman's bitching about him being there, and he doesn't have the money to go to a nicer one. And even like he said then, your power's still going to go out, and you're still going to get robbed over there. I would agree that some of that goes on here. People feel safe because they're behind walls here, or they won't deal with certain things, and they still do anyways. It just depends. It really does. And um, they just had two Koreans that were kidnapped recently. They got them back. I believe they were Koreans here in Pampanga just recently and everything. And then there were the two that got unalived in, I believe it was Manila. Remind me, was it Cebu or Manila or something? So there's been some issues going on here. And I was like, well, it's not American, so I'm not really worried about it. George goes, oh, come on. No, I'm just joking. But it's, no, it is kind of strange with all the ones that are, all this stuff is happening to. It hasn't been European or American, or it's other Asians, and they've been warning in Korea about this and Japan, and they are their biggest bread and butter here. And they're the ones that these are happening to. So it's kind of crazy. They're just char. They're not American, so just no content going on there. Dominican Republic, Victoria. I believe. What's his name? Lived there for a while. Wasn't that where David Campbell said he was there? Wasn't his first wife or something Dominican from there? Isn't that where he stayed for a while? So yeah, DR. More than 80% of people live in the US paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, and have no 401k. That's why, I mean, there's no offense to our Philippine journey. I like his channel. And I'm glad that he planned, and I'm glad his family instilled to do all that stuff. And my family did to an extent, but I was living paycheck to paycheck even at some of my best jobs. We had other family. Some of my husbands were foreign. We were sending money overseas. We were making 2 car payments. I had one. I needed surgeries. There was all kinds of stuff, and so much had changed, and so many different careers had actually changed. So life happens. And now, if you weren't initially in the crypto or had a ton of generational wealth, you're out on stuff like that. And like these days with the cost and there's all kinds of shit coming in the US especially. I'm concerned for our kids that are there, the adult kids we have, because they're same thing. They're making car payments. They do this. They don't have a ton of money in the bank. So they live a nice middle class life, but they're not extremely rich. And now I guess it was announced even higher tariffs are coming and things are already going up. And did you guys see in the public store that they're selling imitation meats and stuff? Kind of crazy. And it showed it was Publix. Unless that was AI, it seemed to come from a regular news station. They said the meats are they're starting to put out an alternate. So instead of paying $30 for a steak, you can pay 14 for a steak, which is still a hell no to me. And it's made from certain fat of the meat that they probably would have scrapped anyways, but it's got all the soy and other things, and they say it looks and tastes like meat. People don't even know they're buying it because you have to look on the label. It actually says that it's a supplement or it's an alternate, and it was at Publix. So anybody see the fake meat? The average, payment is 1,800. So yeah, and that can always go away. So that's the scary part. So is that where the favelas are? I don't know if favelas are Victoria. The crazy people from Haiti come across the border and attack people, and they share their border with the DR. She's here. Where'd you at, Mary? Mary, Mary, Mary. And they saying hi. Well, come here, Mary. By the way, her birthday was a few days ago. She's officially a 1-year-old puppy. You want to come say hi? Well, come here. If I had some ham, you'd be here. Yeah. Okay. Come here. Hi, baby bear. Hi, baby bear. Come here. Hi. Say hi, Mary Berry. Is it nap time? Yeah, it's your nap time. Because you guys get up at like 5 in the morning. When I'm up, then they come running. Oh, is it still your nap time? Can you say hi? So now she's officially a year old. For those that remember Mary, how little she was in the opening of the video, that she was just a couple months old last Christmas. Hi, Mary. Can you relax? Say hi. Oh, got some sleep in your eyes. Why can't you relax? She always does that. Here. There. Oh. The puppy cat. Here. Why don't you go over here with your friends? Let's see. See, I put cat food up there so they can eat during. That way you guys can see some of the kids. Nap time for the kids. I'll get to you guys' comments. I know I used to bitch at George about not getting through them quick enough. Oh, Geo is in the house. Good morning, Geo. That's another one if I didn't mention Geo. Because Geo did a little bit of everything. He was always, people had ragged on him about only giving dating advice and breaking it, but he's done all of the advice. It's kind of like when people cast that first judgment on the channels, they don't look to see that they've done everything. It's like us. Oh, you've only done drama and well, shit, man. All we did was expat help in the beginning. And it's like, now it's time that everybody's flooding in to say, hey, this is what they're doing wrong also. So I'm going to skim through here. So I'm going to skim, guys. sunshine and rainbows, and every guy gets a young honey in the Philippines. Yeah, now they're younger, and I am seeing more of the not American women per se, but just women. But it's a lot of younger couples now, probably under 30, that are, hooked up. There's been some that have been here for a couple years. One that I know is German. I've yet to find one full time that does live streams and is in a retirement age and disabled. It doesn't exactly make us special, but different. No, that is true. And the fact that we say it, it is a third world country. Get offended or not, it is what it is. It is. It's the infrastructure is bad, and evidently it is at the bottom of the list of the Philippines to actually correct any of it. They're now talking now that some contract is up for the internet and they'll be giving cheaper internet. I doubt the other companies change their prices based on it. It's kind of like the electricity going out all the time. And it just, they, I don't understand how Vietnam and all them rebuilt and did everything, and these other countries have become up and coming, and the Philippines got behind. George has answered it quite clearly. It's corruption. And it's something I don't try to talk about too often. Too much backbiting, too many Maritesses, too much corruption, too many. Everybody's putting their hands in the pot when something's done. Like now they're complaining about some of that construction of the railroad. They're talking about where they were doing some of the flood stuff that they just started, how it's not being done correctly, which means they're taking funds and using it other places, and that bridge fell apart. Who's watching who here. So as for me, not to get involved in the politics, ain't out there saying, "Hey, I'm not knocking at the electric, at the electric company's door when I know I'm being overcharged. I know all these fees cannot be right. There's like 20 things coming out of my electric bill right now, and I'm like, there's no reason for all these little charges. Some of them look like triple tax to me, like taxes on the same thing, and I'm like, not my business. As long as I got electricity on, and as long as it stays within reason, it jumps another $100. I may say something, but you can't be like the United States down there at City Hall screaming, which what would it do you any good even in the US right now? It's the same here. But there's been to other countries, and I have the experience to know that this is a very honest statement, that I don't get the infrastructure versus the cost versus what you can make here versus the rich and poor here, the politicians and who gets. I don't. It just boggles my mind on a daily basis. So Joselita, you're sounding like a book by the moment. If you're in the house here, that's not even humanly possible. That's a bot. November sounds good. Yeah, my birthday party in AC. Yeah, November, December when it cools down, and my break is due after looking after both mom and dad. I hear ya. What is going on, Black Grandpa? Gotcha. Thank you. I see that bad boy. I'll check that later. Heidi and George won't pay. They are keeping it real. I mean, at some point, beings are always putting it in your face. Like when we go in under what's it called, studio, they didn't originally do that. When we went in, they didn't even mention it. Now it's there next to the video. Do you want to do advertisement? And I'm like, God damn. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer. And numbers dropped in half. We didn't lose interest at the time, but it was last November that we said, "Hey, we're slowing down. We want time for our own personal life. It's a lot of time coming out." And George is like, "Yeah, it's a lot of editing and all these things going on." And he starts spending more time with his family. And then I'm like, about 6 months before that, the wages dropped in half. for quite a few of us. We went in half on income, and we had less views at the time. And so now they're throwing advertisement on everybody. Initially, they had no advertisement on anybody. In other words, if you weren't monetized, that's how people knew people were getting paid. If you went on a page and they were running commercials, then you're like, oh, they're getting paid. But now they run them on everybody anyways. So they've really changed. And if you don't pay their advertisement, then they give you less views. And sadly, the ones who have paid them, the moment they stop, they cut their views anyways. I've seen several videos on it. Go check it out. If you initially are paying, like some look, really you should be getting 5% of views. 10% would be really, really good. 10% versus your subscribers would be normal. When somebody's getting double all the time, they're not right numbers. So then they've always got to pay to keep up. I'm not paying to keep up with shit. And then the moment those people stop, then they halt even the basic numbers for them and they punish them for it. And I'm not even going to start that ball. It is what it is. If I have 20 people in the room, I'm happy. Just like having AC, I'm really happy. Okay, so I missed that. So that is you, Geo on the go-go. I know you said you were going to change it. Geo on the go. Yeah, I like that. I thought you were going to do Geo on Asia or something, and then they thought it was your new girlfriend or something. You could say Geo on Heidi. Geo and Heidi. I swear everything. I know. It's like you can almost smell it. Like we talked about getting those Harry Potter donuts. So George liked showing them on air and stuff. And then I said, don't eat on air. They had I guess when you do the iced coffees, like the slushy ones, they put little pieces of donut inside. I almost got choked up there for a minute. And I'm like, did you know they put donut in there? He said, I don't know. So we've never actually ordered. I said, that shit will be melted by the time it gets here. But it's like Philippine Antics. Smells like Teen Spirit. No, it smells like donuts. I'm proud of that. Hmm. Where's going? Philippines won't be off on the number ones. Yummy. Fell in love with Thailand many years ago. Hope to go back soon. That's where I want. I definitely Bangkok, Japan, and Australia and China. I don't know when and how to get the funds. That's another thing we were hoping the channel would bring. We thought with this many videos and multi platforms, we'd have went somewhere. Now you got to pay to push those platforms. Now you got to constantly produce content. And really, if you want good content, not only do you have to script it through AI, you got to script the whole thing and get bigger and better cameras. And some people are like, oh, I just did it with my phone. It's like, I just thought we would start making money to at least travel. And unfortunately, it all mostly goes into the caps and the this right here was like we pay 20 or 25 for this for restream, and just everything goes back into the channel almost. That's really good. Really, really good to hear that. I wish I could be single like Geo, free. Free. I want to be free. I wish I was free. I wish it was me. I wish it was me inside of a hotel on top of Geo. Not kidding. George has been gone for less than 24 hours, Geo. I do the things with George. It's like, and there he was walking down the street eating his donut, and then I shoved it in his face, and then I poured that drink on top of his head and shoved him back in the eat right. The Philippines is still a developing country as opposed to Thailand. So Thailand is not a developing country. I mean, I get people talking about developing and third world. People no longer want to call it third world, and then in their own newspapers they call their country third world, and it's kind of like, well, so Which is it? So I thought Thailand. I mean, I know the internet's not going to give it to me. I can't trust the internet or anybody anymore. The only thing I trust is if I'm having a fight with somebody outside and they slap me across the face. I'm saying that was real. You know what I mean? Besides that, I don't trust no news, no person on online or photos or videos anymore. Because even videos that have real content now have been edited with something. So I don't, unless I'm being slapped in the face, I don't believe that shit. Okay, yeah. Well, according to AI, Thailand is classified as an upper middle income developing country, but it does call it developing country. According, I'm sure, do they consider Thailand a third world country? Oh, that's where that person got it, because according to AI, calling it a third world country is very offensive. I don't give a shit about that anymore. That just adds that to the woke shit. It's Well, if they want to throw that in there, that it's a less economically developed country with high poverty and instability, didn't Thailand just have some shit that went down? And don't they have a lot of poverty, guys? Looks like AI got woke. It's an outdated, offensive term because somebody said that in our live a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I don't give a shit. It is what it is. I'm over 50. I'm not going to reclassify my brain all of a sudden. I thought only female Filipinos got Tampa. No. No, the guys get attitudes here too. It is what it is. On the other hand, guys, check it out. Look what I got the other day. I got mail from Social Security. I was really shocked. The deal is though, is it's 12 days old. It's been sitting at the Mabalacat post office for 12 days. So either the mail, the unmail people that are here, okay, just held on to it and they just delivered it along with packages because there is no real postal system. There's a post office for Angel City and Mabalacat and all these other places, but it took 14 days, 16. Actually, I just got it yesterday, which was the 27th, and it's dated for the 13th. So for 15 days, I haven't seen this anywhere. So, but basically, it's about my Medicare. So, but yeah, I just looked over and seen that. Get down, baby. Get down, Pigsy. See Pigsy's tail. Hold on. Look at Pigsy's tail. It's bent in like 3 different directions. See it wagging on the end? So it goes out and back out, something like that. Pixie. Hi, Pixie. I'll say hi, Pixie. Hi, Pixie. Show him that weird tail of yours. And then it bends on the end. She's getting heavy. She got on the inside crew because I thought her tail got ran over for those. I'm going to try to choke that chicken later. Yeah, we're talking about that video. Let me play that one more time for those in before. Oh, stop fighting, guys. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Cat fight. Check it out. Look. Cat fight. That was me and George 2 days ago. By the way, the dog will get it in a minute too. I just want to let you know that the dog will actually get it. Like they'll reach around and beat the dog up because the cats are bigger than her. I thought she would grow a little bit more. You start it. That's one of those kittens. There it is. Is that it? That's all you guys got? That's it? You're going to slap her? She's trying to play dead right now. Get her. See, that's the only real shit I believe anymore is slap that bitch. Slap her. Okay, I guess not. They're done. Mary, you don't want none of that? I guess Mary doesn't want none of that. They do attack the dog, by the way. It's hilarious. Leah and Blair, I would agree. There's only so many channels that I would agree on assisting or giving funds to. We've done them for a few channels. We know that they buy those tests and they help match up kids, and they got a really great channel. I would agree. I would agree 100% on that. There is a point trying to be a troll, but now he's mentioning kids too. Who's that? I know I was talking about different people. Hey, Laura, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, Leah and Blair. Yeah, people send DNA kits. Yeah, that's really great. They go through all that. And then remember, they've either got, now I will let you know based on their numbers, they're probably doing some advertisement, but they're probably getting good numbers. But at their numbers, if they're correct, they're getting a pretty good chunk of change that they've got to be putting towards it. But think about the traveling and how they help people. They put their money, and you could see they're putting it right back into the channel. And if they're editing and recording and helping, that means their life is full time. That channel, so more than likely at their level, they're paying somebody. See, 5 years ago, it was unheard of unless you were like Kulos with a big production or something. You wouldn't be paying someone to edit. But now there's so many professional editors, and we're not even close to being big enough to give out that kind of money. Because even in the Philippines, to pay for a Filipino editor is still costly. So that is for sure. Okay, so let me play this again.
Over upgrade from my room. I can't even get into the goddamn bed. Look at this. I will show you this.
Hold
You
on.
open up the door to go to the bathroom. It's jammed against the bed.
Okay.
For an upgrade from my room. I can't even get into the goddamn bed. Look at this. I will show you this. You open up the door to go to the bathroom. It's jammed against the bed. I have to go in sideways to get into the damn bathroom.
Definitely already sold on the Pinocchio.
You what?
Already sold pizza on the Pinocchio and when
It does, excuse me. It doesn't show that.
yes, we are showing.
Really? When I do my booking.
Surprise, the photo doesn't match. That happens a lot.
My complaints or my feedback. I've been traveling for 4.5 years. I've been to Vietnam.
Real quick, I just want to let you guys know that I could see if it was like hotels that we had been in different countries or different places, like literally bed bugs or something that you could find, or like one time in Florida, we were out on the beach, which by the way can be expected. The whole room was not only smelled like mold, but you could see it on the lamp post, like the lamp shades and the walls. When you took your finger down it was green. That's the reason to complain. But you still don't act this way. When we were in Texas, you could smell the dog urine, and corner of the bed was wet. It was really scary. So basically the housekeepers never even cleaned or mopped, and the previous people had pets in it, and it was like the last hotel right before we had got to the border of Mexico, and it was really really bad off. And I could see we didn't even ask for a refund. We just left the next morning. We took everything off and checked the bottom and just slept on it at that point, and we put the towels down. But it was like, you still get through the day. You don't do this.
Many times. I've never been in a hotel this bad. This is not acceptable. You're not listening. This is not acceptable. It's very frustrating sometimes. Sometimes I forget I'm not in my country.
Yeah, you forgot.
Like he said in Australia, things are different.
Yeah, brother. In Australia, they just knock you out if you talk to someone like that.
And believe me, I'm not normally like that. I'm a very low-key person.
Okay.
But when you get to a level where you've had enough and you're ready to crack, that's it.
Hmm.
You go to a restaurant and you point and pitch your hamburger, this is what you want, and they give you something totally different. And you repeat the order 3 times, and they give you something totally different. The other day,
Okay.
Amazon coffee. I said, no.
Okay. So he just mentioned something that does happen quite often to me. You're just going to have those bad days. There is a lot of miscommunication. They claim that the Philippines has some of the highest amount of English speakers. It doesn't mean they're really fluent. And especially if you leave outside of the tourist trap areas, you're going to run into hardly any English at all. And I live in an area where they have English, and most of the time they'll even say the ones that speak good will call it nosebleeds because I talk really fast and we have different slang. They have different slang and understanding. And you'll have those days. You will order something, just like he said, but that was in Vietnam. You'll order something and you'll tell them 3 times and they'll bring you something totally different. And we're not talking about like when I was in Mexico and I ordered the grilled cheese, and literally after half a day with no food, 12 hours, all day on the road, I end up with a piece of cheese that had grilled marks on it. And I about shit myself while George was in the bathroom taking a bath, doing his aquarium trick with a glass. Don't ask. But he came out and he just laughed. He goes, I could have probably told you that's what you were going to get because I misunderstood the menu. Okay. Because I translated it through the translator through a photo, literally grill marks on a piece of cheese. But the sad part was it was like $7 US. I'm like, bullshit, no bread. And so, and I was mad because we paid like $200 for the room, and I'm like, this is $200 in Mexico, and we were supposed to get a penthouse. It was their biggest room, and at the top, and they claimed and called it a penthouse. It was not a penthouse. Now, did I go downstairs and pitch a fit? No, I just had to leave that shit alone. But this guy, I get the breaking point, and people will reach that breaking point here in the Philippines because like, I remember the first time I went out here to a restaurant at the Chinese restaurant, which had Filipinos in there, by the way. I couldn't get him to come to the table at all. Like, we couldn't get him to bring a check or a refill on our drinks or to see if we need anything additional or if we wanted some of the desserts or anything. It's like they just stood there staring at you the whole time. So the service will be different here. The infrastructure, all these things will be going on in one day, and I can see snapping. Now, I'm not believing this bitch, Karen, that he said that it doesn't happen in his country. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Everybody has a bad day. Not everybody handles it like that. He's venting his frustration. At least he kept his hands to himself. I give him that. But not everybody handles it like that. So I don't know if you guys actually heard that full thing. So that's true. Don't sweat the small stuff. You're right, Joselita. That's George's line. Yeah. Jose, I am from the DR where the Haitians are really close. Yeah, one of those 90-day couples. I'm like back on back episodes of some are 2 years old, but it's always interesting to watch other people's drama unfold, knowing what it's like to live in another country, knowing part of it is script, but a lot of it you can't unscript either, especially when they get to the end ones where they all sit around and talk. They tear each other up. I'm like, yeah, this is hilarious. Oh, she said, happy birthday, Mary. Thank you. Happy birthday, Mary. Mine was a couple weeks ago. Yes, Victoria. I will always be proud of the best in the Filipinos and my culture and the people. I will help to the best of my ability to eliminate what is perceived as weakness, and to develop values for the, yeah, you're copying and pasting. You could see that, or it could be you just actually got cut off, but I hear you on that. Not sure what that one, as a Filipino, I can see what they mean by American and how bad women age there. I see why foreigners prefer Filipinas. Yeah, devout dreaming. Your statement can be flipped to the other way. It's crazy how they say that it's because of the aging women. What it is their wallet doesn't go far in America, so they can't afford the women in their country that are young. And so, do all guys perceive it in a situation like that? The answer is no. What it is their wallet goes further here to get those younger Filipinas. If they had the money and had the good attitude, they could get them somewhere in Russia or Europe or somewhere else. White women, or how bad women age there, it's not they're aged, we age like everybody goddamn else. It gets so old that I've heard other channels mention that. Oh, look at my Filipina. Why would somebody want to date a 50-year-old in America or a 60-year-old? Most of these coots are in their 60s and 70s, and they wouldn't redate, okay, if they didn't come to Asia. Okay, facts, absolute facts. Or Russia, or the Dominican Republic, or wherever the hell they go. Their wallet paves the way. Okay. These goddamn women raise families. Okay. They sacrifice with these men. They do all this shit. And the first chance they get, they split out. They'll say, oh, she had an attitude or she was in a bad mood. No, she's going through menopause. She's going through medical conditions. You couldn't stick it out or rough it out. Now, that's not every single goddamn person. I've had marriages that have ended. But as far as saying, I'm pretty sure that word is fucked, Americans, how bad women age there. You don't think the women don't age bad here? Have you seen them after 35? F you. What you talking about? Women go through shit like every goddamn woman around the world. Ain't gonna put no American woman here, no Filipino woman here, up there. They all have goddamn problems. All of them age badly. Sorry that these women age in America. You do know they're all colors and races there, anyways, right? They all age. What it is they're getting younger women. So I've seen 50-year-olds that look 70 here. So I wouldn't go there with that one. That is for sure. Absolutely sure. Geo in an Asian, that'll work too. That will work too. Geo loved them all. Hey, what's going on there? Oh yeah, not good enough for that particular type of post, especially if it's proof of life. There's a lot of Filipino channels and a lot of expat channels. No, it's a lot of frustrations for a lot of jobs. They call it silent quitting, and I probably would too. But if the cost of wages were even close, we're not talking about like in the US where, you could still afford things at minimum wage. No, it's here some of the stuff is astronomical for the wages they're putting out. There's no real middle ground for that. So yeah, $10. It's called silent quitting. Like that's why a lot of it's not that they're not giving you their full service. Filipinos are very hospitable, and they are some of the best nurses in the world. They just put out another article how well they are the best nurses that are in America. When they list the people that are nursing in America, they're still top. But here, um, it changes when you're being paid $10 as a security guard holding a gun. It really is crazy. And that's why a lot of them will turn their backs on certain things because they're just not being paid enough to deal with that, or it's if they do it, they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart situation. That is for sure. Hey, what's going on, Cuckoo or Cocoa Puffs? What is going on? Happy Thursday. Oh, thank you so much, Victoria. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, Mary, you got some birthday funds. Want some pizza? Did get Mary. Look at her ears. Mary, you say thank you to Victoria. Yeah? Victoria got some funds. Yeah? Yeah. Get a snack later. They got all kinds of treats. We've been doing here lately. For Mary, we just got this a few days ago. It's fish oil for her. The cats don't like it so much. So then the cats we buy every month, we get their pay. So it's upside down. It's a paste for hairball and nutrition and helps them gain weight, like when like their hair starts to fall out and everything. But they get the extra supplements and stuff. Yeah, she hides her treats. Like Ted had sent a box of biscuits to her, and we still have some left. She'll take them and she'll hide them in the bed, and then you'll find them in little pieces. They hide everything as a little dog. So I'm old and chubby, but my SS check and pension makes me more desirable to hot young Filipino women. Unfortunately, there's some truth in that. If something happened to George and he never came back from the family house, or if he fell down the stairs, or I rethought about one, I just wouldn't start over. But so a bunch of these other guys say they won't. Then they come here and they get married. I understand finding love. I cannot understand the ones where most of them don't have finances. There, some of them just don't start with any finance. I just couldn't trust at this point that the guys, most of the guys my age here are definitely married or with somebody, so it would have to be somewhat at a different age. I just couldn't see dating here. I just couldn't for multiple reasons. Not the same for a female, that is for sure. All right, guys, on that, Mary, Victoria says she loves you. Yeah, you good girl. Oh, good girl. Serious good girl. They get those pillows down. That's why they're head to head right now. And she pulls them down and she chews on them. The YouTube pillow is drugged somewhere. We have two of them that are somewhere under the furniture or something. They drag them somewhere. But all right, guys, I appreciate you guys stopping in. I'm gonna wrap this up and try to get a hold of George and see what's going on. See if he's coming home or if I'm making barbecue chicken tonight or something. Find out what's going on. Made a good bean burger the other day. I had made some beans and I had made also like a meatloaf that had the beans in it with like cheese, and it's pretty good. So I ended up making patties out of remaining beans. You guys kind of missed that, but he's not happy on that. So Georgie can only eat so many beans. The poor guy's got a weak stomach. He's got a weak stomach. So, all right, guys, love you guys. And Saturday should be the next live. Hopefully, we're getting George in here. I always say that. Maybe not. So, all right, guys, love you and talk to you guys later. See you later. Bye, Thera. Bye, Victoria. Bye, Slick Rick.